Hey, good morning. Not sure if you have this figured out or not, but there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm just going to run through it one time. Here's the utility room here, and this is what I suggested, that we take the ceiling finish and you add 17 inches of air gap, which you can call an air gap, down here. Framing, which needs to be framing. I did this 16-inch on center, lumber, blah, blah, soundboard. I'm not sure we're 2 inches. I've never seen, but whatever. Okay, soundboard, and then 5/8 inch drywall. This is one way to do it. It gets you your 88-inch ceiling height right here. And then when you look at what's the best way? A section through here, maybe? No, let's do this. And then you're getting fooled. I think you're getting fooled by this view here, right? It's like, oh, what the what? So this is a floor overview, but you got to throw the ceiling joists on there if you want to see what the framing is like. I'm not sure how the other surfaces get on here. There's probably a way to do it. I don't even know if it's necessary, but this is kind of what the framing looks like from here. And a cross section. Well, this is a different plan. That's a different way to do it. Another cross section. Hold on a second. I'm making this more complicated. So this is the one way to do it with the air gap and all of that, right? The other way to do it, and if you remember in my first post, I suggested you wait for the smart guys. In this case, it's Eric. And he suggested you make a shelf ceiling out of it. And all you really have to do, well, you do want to, your ceiling finish, if you do want 2 inches of soundboard and 5/8 inch of drywall, then you would specify that underneath the ceiling. You can see there's two layers right here. Then you say the ceiling finish is 88 inches, call it a shelf ceiling, and it looks like this. And then if you go to a floor overview of that, you may wonder what happened to everything, but you got to turn all the stuff on. Oops, hello, sorry. You got to turn everything on. You had it without here's the framing, and that's the ceiling framing turned on. And I think it's actually 3.5, no, whatever. You got to turn the ceiling framing on. There is a shelf ceiling. That's what Eric was suggesting. This is the easiest way to do it. I made it too complicated, but this is simple. And that section view looks like this. There's your 2x4. There's that 2 inches of soundboard, 5/8 of drywall, and your ceiling dropped to 88 inches. And I guess it's the finished ceiling height. Yeah, it's finished ceiling height, right? Let's see, is it this one? I'm going to get rid of this plan here. I don't like this idea with the big ceiling finish. It's not the way to do it. Shelf ceiling is the way to do it. And where is that plan? Is it this one? Yeah, it's a ceiling finish, right? Is finished ceiling is 88. There you go, at the bottom of the drywall. So there's a couple different ways to do it, and the shelf ceiling is the easiest way to do it, and it's designed for that. I think simply because of the way Chief works is why they came up with the shelf ceiling. Was that you'll notice when you're in here, this is going beyond, probably beyond this. You'll notice there is no ceiling structure editable here, because Chief on a foundation level treats the ceiling structure as actually the floor structure above. You can't change this ceiling structure here. That's why it's grayed out. Again, smart guys are going to probably tell you something smarter. But it's probably why this is grayed out, is because that's how Chief works, right? Chief doesn't, there's no ceiling on the foundation floor. There's only a floor on the floor above, which acts as the ceiling of the foundation below. That's super confusing, and the whole thing is super confusing. And you had this thing dialed. You had it dialed, you just didn't have your framing turned on in one of your views. So anyway, there's that. It's doable. A shelf ceiling is the way to go. Just call it 88 inches on your finished ceiling height. Throw some frame, make sure the structure is correct. And where's that spec'd? That's a good question. So you need smart guys again now. I don't know where this 2x4 is specified as far as a shelf ceiling. I don't see anywhere that you can specify the actual ceiling. But maybe, again, the smart guys, if you care, 2x4s are plenty across here, but if you wanted to get a 2x6, I'm not sure how you do that. And these exercises are always good for me as well. Let's say, here's how they, Chief in their help file defines how to set in a dropped ceiling. And they suggest that it's done with specify layer 1 as an air gap, layer 2 as the framing, layer 3 as the drywall. They suggest that to create a dropped ceiling that you use the first technique with the air gap. A shelf ceiling in their minds is a little bit different than that, and it's kind of designed to be like in an open room where there'd actually be a shelf over the ceiling. So anyway, there's that. There's two different ways to do it. They suggest that you do it the first method that was suggested, and a shelf ceiling is an option. It works really well too. But I don't know how you specify the framing on the shelf ceiling, or if you care. But this one here, I'll post that plan for you too. Maybe it's pretty big, but I'll post it in a Dropbox link for you to check it out. Hope that helps, man. See you.